Okay, so we're going to start with 1.2 now. This is the first day of it. We'll have a second day tomorrow. And it's asking, what does it mean to solve an equation? So if you think about it, if you're solving an equation, you're finding a missing value for a variable. So to find a missing value for a variable. It's also to try to make a true statement. So what I mean by that is if it has an equal sign, that means that I need the left and the right of that equal sign to equal the same thing. So 2 equals 2, and so on and so on. Okay, so letter B, it says if x is -4, letter B says, is x equals -4 a solution to 3x plus 16 equals 0? Explain why or why not. So what I would do here is take this -4 and plug it into our x. Okay, so we have 3 times -4 plus 16 equals 0. Well, 3 times -4 is -12. And if I add -12 and 16, I would end up getting a +4. Well, +4 does not equal 0. So no, x equals -4 is not a solution. All right, so we are going to look at solving equations here. So for number 2, it says for each of the following, find the value of the variable that makes the equation true. Letter A. In order to solve for A, we are going to subtract 2 first from both sides. So we have 5A equals 25. Now 5 and A are being multiplied. And the opposite of multiplication is division. We are going to divide by 5, and we're left with A equals 5. In letter B, there's a negative out in front, and you can think of it as just a negative in general, or you can make it attached to either the numerator or denominator. In this case, I would be very careful if you attach it to the numerator, because you would have to change both signs, so a -d and a +3. So I encourage you to always tack it onto a solid number, or just keep it out in front. In this case, I want to get rid of that -9 now, so I'm going to multiply, seeing it's being divided right now. I'm going to multiply both sides by -9, so we're left with d minus 3 equals -18. The only thing left to do from here is add 3. So d would equal -. On letter C, this one always tends to confuse people sometimes, and I'm not 100% sure why. So I want you to think about it this way, okay? Pretend that 3 minus 2x equals. I don't think a single one of you would tell me, "Oh, the first thing to do is add these 2." Right? Well, this is the same problem as this one over here. But there are many students that say, "Okay, let's do 3 minus 2 first." Okay, they're the same equation. They are not like terms, so we cannot combine them right now. Instead of combining them, we are going to distribute the -2. So the 3 kind of just hangs out. Now you have -2x minus 2 equals 11. Combine like terms, 3 minus 2 is 1. We have 1 minus 2x equals 10. Subtract 1 from both sides. -2x equals 10. Divide by -2, and x is -5. Letter D. First thing we have to do here is subtract 6 from both sides. We have -4/3. C equals 4. At this point, you can do this in 2 steps. Most of you would think, okay, let's multiply by 3 to get rid of that, and then we would divide by 4. You can do that all at once, though. If we multiply by 3 and divide by -4, we would end up with our final answer, just as easily. Both of them cancel over here. So we're left with C equals 4 over 1 times 3 over negative 4. You can think about this two different ways. You can think about it as 12 over negative 4 and then reduce it. Or you can notice that this would become a 1 and this would be a negative 1. You can reduce them. So you're left with C equals negative 3, whichever way you look at it. Little side note here with this negative 4/3. If you notice, it is like this in the directions, and then I switched it to this. You could have also had 4 over negative 3. Okay, these are all the same thing. The thing that you cannot have is negative 4 over negative 3, right? Because negative over a negative is a positive. The nice thing about solving equations is with any one of these or all of them, you can plug in to see if your answer is correct. So let's look back at letter A. If I wanted to check to make sure that I got this question right, what I can do is plug this 5 back in and see if it comes up with a true equation. So we have 5 times 5 plus 2 needs to equal 27. Well, 5 times 5 is 25. If you add 2 to 25, you get 27. So in that case, we know that that is the correct answer. We can do that and check all of our answers here if we wanted to, but these are all correct answers, so we don't have to. It's a nice little thing for when you are taking your test. You can check to see if your answers are right. Now we're moving on to a couple word problems. So we have our first one, number 3. It says Angela is renting a car or rented a car for $29.99 a day, plus a one-time insurance of $5. Her bill was $124.96. For how many days did she rent the car? Well, if we put this together in an equation, she pays $29.99 per day. So I'm going to say days are X. And then she pays $5 one time. And that's going to equal 124.96. Then all we have to do is solve for X. Subtract 5. So we have $29.99. X equals $119.96. And then we're going to divide by $29.99. That means X would be 4. Now, since this is a word problem, we do need to label that. They are talking about X being the number of days, so this would be 4 days. We have one more word problem to go through. It says Hiroshi is buying a pair of water skis that are on sale for 2/3 of the original price. After he uses a $25 gift certificate, the total cost before taxes is $115. Write and solve an equation to determine the original price of the skis. So we know it's 2/3 of the original price. And we're going to take away that $25 that he used as a gift card. And it's going to equal $115. So if I'm solving for X, the first thing that I would do is add 25. So now I have 2/3 X equals, and this gives me 140. Now to solve for X, you can do this in 2 steps, but I'm going to do it in 1, where we multiply by the reciprocal, so 3 over 2. Now you can type this into your calculator, or I can start thinking about the fact that 140 divided by 2, I actually know. That ends up giving me 70 over 1, right? So 70 times 3 is $210.